So this is the Cube iwork8 Air. It is an upgraded version of the iwork8 that I reviewed a while back, and all they've changed is the screen. So the screen resolution has now gone from 1280 by 800 pixels to now 1920 by 1200. And the screen, as a result, is a lot sharper. Now on camera, you're going to see a little bit of this shimmer, this flickering happening. Now that doesn't actually happen when you're looking at it. So to the naked eye, you can't see that at all. I don't know why that's happening on camera. I've tried every single setting possible to try and eliminate that flicker, changing the shutter speed, ISO settings, etc. And I can't seem to get rid of that. So if you have a look at the screen, it is a non-laminated screen, and there is a very visible gap there that you can see of approximately 2 millimeters between the IPS panel below and the screen on the top. Now the screen seems to be, it's hard like glass, but I think it is glass underneath, but with a plastic coating on the top. It does come up with a screen protector pre-applied on it. And the build quality of it, it's all plastic. And even though this is painted silver to look like metal, it's definitely not metal. All plastic along here. And I'll just show you on the right hand side. So we have a power on, volume up and down. Those are made out of metal. And on the top here we have a home button. That's a 2 megapixel camera. A micro SD card slot. I've got 128 gigabyte SSD in there. Micro SD in there, sorry. 3.5mm audio jack, micro HDMI out, and your micro USB in for data and charging. And there's a rear speaker, and it's a textured kind of plastic material on the back. The build of it is okay. It doesn't feel flimsy or anything like that, but it is plasticky, and it's quite light too. It's only 314 grams, which isn't bad. A nice lightweight. And at the front here we have a 2 megapixel camera. So this review is going to be broken down into various sections. There's some time codes that should be appearing right now. So feel free to skip ahead to parts that interest you the most. If you want to just see the Windows portion, then go ahead and check that out. So I'll start off now just having a look at the Android side of things on the iwork8 Air first. So it is running Android 5.1, and the ROM is fairly lightweight. There are no real bloatware apps on there, and anything that is on there you can just go ahead and uninstall that straight away, which isn't too bad. The performance of it is good. I have the 2 gigabytes of RAM, so it doesn't give you a huge amount of RAM for multitasking, but I'll show you the current RAM use at the moment. So at the moment if I select what's running. So at the moment it's using 330 megabytes of RAM, giving us about 1.4 gigabytes free there. So you've got a little bit of data there to play with to do multitasking. So I did run my usual benchmarks, and I will go through some of those here. But first we'll just have a look at this screen in a little more detail. So they did add a few images, come pre-installed from the factory. Just some images that make the screen look really nice. So it does have a maximum brightness of 772 lux, and as mentioned, it has now the 1920 by 1200 resolution. And it's not a bad screen at all. It looks quite sharp, good brightness, and it's a definite upgrade from the original iwork8 model. Okay, sorry, here's the free amount of storage you get when you first move over into Android. So you get 7.19 gigabytes free. So you can at least install a couple of large games. And the default apps, so we had just a couple of bloatware ones there, but you can uninstall them. So here's the Geekbench 3 score. This is Antutu. Anywhere around 60,000 is good for this chipset. Ice Storm score, a little lower than expected, that one. Ice Storm Extreme. And the wireless speed. So the wireless download speed came out a little lower than my desktop. Now my desktop normally gets around 40, 45. And here we've got 33 and the upload of 28. The upload speed was really good because my desktop got about 26 there. But that can fluctuate and vary a little bit depending on the cell tower traffic, because I'm actually connected up via a 4G modem for my internet connection. So those were the benchmarks I ran on the system. Now I'll just quickly show you a few games so we can see what it's like at gaming.
Welcome to the world of GT Racing 2.
Okay, so this is GT Racing 2. The speaker you can just hear, hopefully then, was actually really loud then. Okay, so clearly that control setup doesn't work for some reason. Gonna have to use the tap to control. Now this should work. Okay, that game is running okay. I mean, that's playable frame rates. There's a little bit of stutter there, as you no doubt would have seen. So I test out another game, a more demanding one, Mortal Kombat X.
Sub-Zero. You have eyes, but will not see. I will see you die.
Okay, you can see it's running okay, but there's some definite slowdown. A little laggy. I'll move on now and check out another game. Its last title is Modern Combat 5.
Move into cover. Take him out. Extraction point B. Over. You heard him. Come on.
Okay, so you can see from that gaming in Android is good, apart from Mortal Kombat X is quite a demanding title too. Why that is because Mortal Kombat's one of the few games that actually will scale and run in the actual native resolution and not scaling up from 720p to 1080p, for example, like other games do. They just scale things up, so they're a lot easier to run. But that isn't too bad. So the performance of the ROM is good. I will quickly do a browser test here before moving over to Windows. So the touch response in Android seems quite good. Don't have any problems with it. And the browser is fast and fluid, as you can see here. Let's have a look at a embedded YouTube clip, which should run just fine.
Chris here, and welcome to my i7 book. Find to the excellent accuracy as well, and how fluid the screen is with the Focal Tech.
So that's working just fine there. So I move over now and have a look at Windows. So to do so, all you need to do is just hold the power button down, and you're presented with the menu. Here from there, just tap boot to Windows. So I booted over now into Windows, and you can still see some of that shimmering off the screen is happening on camera. Again, I can't actually see that to the naked eye, it's not visible. So these are the speeds of the internal storage. It's an N card. And those speeds are okay. The 4K read and writes are a little slow there. And here's my 128 gigabyte Samsung Pro Plus card. And that got reasonably good speeds. So it can read 128 gigabyte cards. Not a problem there. Now benchmarks. I'm only going to run one here, and that is the Geekbench 3 benchmark. And the benchmarks that I showed you in Android, the 3D marks, they'll be more or less the same here in Windows. So that's why I haven't gone over those. And mainly because really we don't have a lot of free space on this tablet here. So if I just quickly show you, at the moment here, we'll have a look at the C drive. So at the moment I've got just under 5 gigabytes free, which isn't a lot. You only get 6 when you first boot it up, which, you know, that's just not enough. They should not be using 32 gigabyte eMMCs on dual boot tablets. It's got to be 64 minimum now, really. Because once you start downloading all of the Windows updates, you're going to lose probably another gigabyte or so as well to that. And I'll just quickly also show you that in Device Manager, the wireless we have. So it's another Realtek chipset. It's either Broadcom, this price range, Broadcom or Realtek. So it's Realtek Wireless N. There you see under the network adapters. So there you go, Realtek. And just to show you that disk drive. So it's N, it says generic N card, which is probably Bwind or 4C brand. Now the touch response and accuracy in Windows is fine. It's just like any other Windows tablet. I haven't found any problems at all with that. The wireless speeds are about the same as what I showed you in Android. They're the same. The speaker output is a little bit less, probably not as good, and battery life is more or less the same as Android. You're only looking at about 3 hours. Full run time here of just under 3 hours, which isn't good because the battery capacity is only 3,500 milliamp hours, and that screen is also taking a toll on the battery life because the iwork8 I think got about 3.5 hours. We're losing about half an hour to 20 minutes because of the high resolution screen. Although it's a very nice screen and it still outputs the same 272 lux of maximum brightness here in Windows. Now I'm just going to do a very quick gaming test, which is Windows Store game, which is Sniper Fury, and check the maximum temperatures. So running the first tutorial mission is actually a good way to see whether it's going to have playable frame rates or not. See, that's got quite a bit of lag there actually. That seems to be, it's probably running about 20 frames per second, perhaps a little bit lower. Whoops, and I missed. Huh. Oh yeah, there's some stutter there. So temperature's got up to 85 degrees, which is kind of the normal temperature really for these Atom Z8300s. And no thermal throttling, which is good to see. It does get quite warm just around this area here, so just below the camera. It's a little warm around there, but nothing concerning, nothing alarming there. Now, if you're wondering if you can play games like Counter-Strike Global Offensive or League of Legends, I've tested these titles out time and time again on this particular chipset. And yes, you can play them, but you have to lower the resolution right down to the lowest resolution and the lowest settings there, and you can get semi-playable frame rates. Counter-Strike, you can get anywhere between 24 frames per second to around 20. League of Legends, you can probably get up to about 30 frames per second on lower settings, lowest resolution as well there. And you can get at least a little bit of gaming there that is playable, those other types of games. Older games as well, some of them you can play quite well on this particular chipset. But it's not really that good at gaming the Atom X5 Z8300. So to quickly recap my findings here, I think the Android ROM is nice and fast and fluid, and there's very little bloatware on there. What is there that bloat, you can just uninstall. Gaming performance in Android is good. You can see that it did struggle a little bit with the more demanding title like Mortal Kombat X, but it was still playable at least, which was good. Temperatures are okay to get up to 85 degrees, which is often the case with these Atom X5Z8300s. And that loudspeaker can get quite loud, at least in Android. Very loud, in fact, for this price ranging category of tablet. And overall, the only real downside I can see of the iwork8 Air here is the battery life. Battery life of around 3 hours to 3.5 hours really isn't the greatest, but that is on par with some of the other tablets that are in this same category, 8-inch tablets, dual boots. They all get between 3.5 and 4 hours there, so it is a little disappointing to see, but for 80 US, that's not a bad tablet at all, considering the price range there, that it's quite cheap and you're getting a lot there. And there's also the other thing about only having 6 gigabytes free on Windows. Isn't good to see. I wish they would stop making 32 gigabyte eMMC dual boot tablets and move over and set 64 gigabytes as the absolute minimum to use on dual boots. So that is the review there. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will catch you back in the channel soon.